Spartan, Q the Woodshed here, and my partner in crime, my brother Brian, the Super Mad Spartan. Even though he's pretty calm right now because there's no, outside of the basketball team taking an unfortunate L last night against Iowa.
Very true. Yes.
He's pretty cool right now in this off season here for the football program here. So we're back at it with our classic Spartan series here. We have the presence of one of the greatest linemen ever in the history of Spartan athletics, the great Flozell the Hotel Adams. Welcome to the show, Mr. Adams, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you, man. Thank you. Hey, it's a lot of great linemen that came out of Michigan State, so we're all great. That's how I look at it.
Well, happy to have you here with us. Appreciate you coming on with us.
Yes, most definitely. So, just to kick things off, in looking up some initial information on your time at Michigan State, Flozell, and correct me if I'm wrong as far as when you exactly played there, Wikipedia says that you were there from 94 to 97. Was that accurate or incorrect?
Well, that's correct. My playing years are incorrect. I was redshirted. So,
okay.
It's not like it is today. These guys, they leave after 2 or 3 years or anything like that. But those are my playing years, my eligibility years, yes.
Okay. So you played for both George Perlis and Nick Saban when Nick Saban first came into MSU?
I did 1 year with Perlis and I did 3 with Saban.
Okay. So what were the different styles of coaching that you can, let us know about between GP, when I remember calling back in the day, when I was at MSU, to Nick Saban? What was the different coaching style, different approach that you can share with us during your playing time?
It's hard to really get a grasp on how GP was because technically I only had him like 7 months, and he got fired again. He's been there for a long time, but he was at the end of his career, old school, and probably younger. When his younger years as a defensive coordinator with the Steelers, and then a young head coach at Michigan State, I can tell he has some fire to him. So I mean, after doing it so long, you start to lose it a little bit. That's just anybody with anything. But, he lost a little fire towards the end. But I can imagine the type of coach he was back in the, early 80s at Michigan State. I'm sure he was like a get-em type guy, cuss you out and do all that stuff and make you really, really work hard. And, something these kids and young men can't do today. But I can definitely tell you about Nick. And Nick Saban was he was a guy that very, very hard to understand, to get to know as a coach or anything like that, because just like any other coach, you got to prove your presence once you come in. You got to weed the guys that don't disagree, that don't agree with you, guys that don't want to be a part of the system. Back then, it wasn't easy as it is today to jump ship. Like, okay, I'm transferring. I mean, out of all the guys that transferred when Nick Saban got, we maybe had 1 or 2 that transferred and anything like that. But you got to stick to you stuck with it. Because back then you had to, if you transferred, you lose a year of eligibility.
It's not a year.
Yeah, you lose it. So you just stayed there and rode with the punches and just dealt with it. And Nick, you see how he is in Alabama. He just recently retired. That's the lighter side of Nick, his late 50s, even though he was very successful in Alabama. But that's nothing compared to where we had a nice 47-year-old Nick. This guy used to, he's only about 5'6", 5'7", maybe 5'7", but his personality is 8 feet. 8 feet, 600 pounds. So he was definitely a force to reckon with when he first got in. He had to prove his point. I had fired the previous coaches. I think he maybe kept a couple. I can't remember. It's been so long. And brought his new coaches in, and they did exactly what he wanted them to do. They had to go on and prove a point, get these little punks out of here who don't agree with what I'm doing, and let's play some football.
Right.
That's interesting that Nick Saban was it seemed kind of fiery still to me. So he said he's more laid back now than he was back then. It's kind of hard to imagine.
Man, that's laid back what you see right there. What you see on TV for the last 10 years in Alabama, that's laid back. Because me and the guy still talking like, you see how Nick is? I'm like, man, there's no way. It's like a totally different Nick. But I bet you still have the same attitude with what he had. Because, I mean, he had a successful program there for many, many years. Yes. I don't know how long he's been in Alabama, but he definitely had a very successful career. And I always wondered what would have happened if he'd have stayed at Michigan State. So we probably most likely would have had a couple of national championships. But hey, coaches come, coaches go, players come, and it's just the way it is.
Just the way it is.
Yeah, that was something I was just going to say, too, that, playing that what-if game. So, maybe, like at Marvel when they do the whole multiverse thing, maybe in another universe, Nick Saban did stay at Michigan State, and we actually won maybe 1 or 2 national titles. But, here and now,
nice.
hey.
Hey, Michigan State, they want to cough up.
Definitely.
They want to cough up that money back then. The LSU came to the plate, and just like you had a corporate job, or you get a upgrade, a raise of a teacher, or a carpenter, or the football player get a raise, you got to move on. The other guy's not trying to pay, so you got to move on. I can't knock him for that. And
Michigan State, capitalism. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Yeah. You don't pay, I gotta go. See ya.
Right. So, Flozell, when you were playing back in your day at MSU, what were some of your most memorable times, memorable games, most memorable moments?
Most memorable times is that's not really related to games. It's just being around the guys. And it's like we were brothers. It's like you had so many guys that were from different areas. You had a lot of guys from Detroit, Muskegon, Flint, Saginaw, Cleveland, Cincinnati, a whole bunch of those little small towns in Ohio in between, or whatever the names are. And it was like a brotherhood that we had joined. And I didn't know that we were going to join the brotherhood until we got there and became friends. And everybody get along, but most guys got along. And you just join this pack. It's a club. I mean, we call it a frat. Our football team was a frat because a lot of guys didn't pledge or anything because the football team was a frat. So that was our frat, and we stuck with it. We dang near live, breathe, and eat each other because we didn't have any time to do much because Nick made sure we didn't have any time because most programs don't have a lot of time to do anything. And I always wonder, like, how did this guy get in trouble? He only had an hour, and then he had curfew. Like, what he possibly thinking of to get in trouble? But it's definitely a brotherhood that lasts till today. And now that guys in my class before me and after me were older, we're the other guys that are getting into their mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s. They join the brotherhood, and we all communicate when we can. You belong to social media platforms, our little group like Facebook, what do they call a Facebook group, join group, something, Instagram, things like that. We have each other numbers if you need to call. There's been times that guys need a job and like, hey, who's hiring? And they're like, oh, my company's hiring. So that's the type of brotherhood that we have. We extend a hand out. Or a guy that open up, hey, I opened up a new chicken joint in Cleveland. Who's in Cleveland? Stop by. Like, oh, yeah, I live in Cleveland. I'm going to stop by. That's the type of support that that we give each other. Spartan, we call ourselves the Spartan Dogs that we give each other. So it's definitely one of the most memorable things that I have about being MSU back then and today. And as for playing is very, very different when I got to MSU because I'm from Chicago, and I think there was only one other guy from Chicago on the team, but he was like from the countryside of Chicago, like 100 miles out. So, but I was like the only Chicago guy out there, and it just felt like a very little different situation getting to know you Michigan people. But after I learned it after a while, it was just fine. It was just fine. I grew to love the people in Michigan, except those people in Ann Arbor, beside those people. But other than that, everybody else is cool. But, I was talking to Cedric Irvin just yesterday, or yesterday or the day before.
I remember him.
Yeah, we were talking about whatever, and then all of a sudden the game came up and we played Penn State. And Penn State was ranked 1, 2, the top 5 or whatever, and their defense was number 3 in the nation, and we ran 400 and plus yards on those guys, like in 3 quarters and everything. And so when you talk about most memorable games, that was one of the most memorable games I went against, especially when you go against a team that's ranked in the top 5, and you'll be able to smack them around, and you get a knock them out of the national championship because of that loss, Penn State. And, that's what we did. So
yeah,
that's one of the most memorables. But it's more the games that were grinding. Like people look at Indiana and Purdue or Northwestern, they're like, oh, that suck. Those guys suck. They ain't nothing. They're 2-7. And I'm telling y'all, when you're on that field, they're not playing like they're 2-7. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going against a guy that's just like you. He's from Chicago too. He's from Detroit. And from if you go to Indiana, he's from Indianapolis, same city as Detroit, whatever like that. Those are the same guys too. So they're playing and trying to win, and you're trying to bump heads with this guy. It's not as easy as it seems to beat teams like Indiana or Northwestern, any of those teams. You expect like Ohio State. Everybody think about Ohio State and Michigan every year, but those other schools are smaller. They're not even small. The teams that don't get top 5 or top 10 every year are the teams that are hardest to beat, like Nebraska or anything like that. Those teams are really hard to beat. It's not real easy, and just going punch for punch for those guys back in the day was one of the most memorable. And I remember, I got a spotty memory. It's been, 25, 30 years. But I'm going against this guy named Kruk. His last name was Kruk. And he was with Purdue. And I played against him for like 3 friggin' years. And this dude never made it to the NFL. I'm like, why did this just make it to the NFL? You give me a hard friggin' time. I mean, just going head to head.
That's crazy.
All the time. And it's guys against guys and coaches against coaches. I mean, the coaches got to figure out game plan too to beat the defense coordinator, and offense coordinator got to beat the defense coordinator. So they're battling too. So most of those games are most memorable games. I mean, I'm smiling spotty, like I remember stuff from here and there, not just really a particular game besides Penn State and Michigan. Of course, we beat them. I remember what year we beat them in '95. I think we beat them in '95.
I think I remember that.
We beat them in '95, and I'll never forget that the whole stadium had collapsed onto the field, and all the Michigan players had ran towards the tunnel. This one guy named Hayes, number 2. These foreign people he was just walking, and I was like right behind him. I said to myself, like, dude, you better run. And he didn't run, and they jumped on him. They slammed him to the ground and started kicking and stomping on him and everything. I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill this dude.
Wow.
So I had to push Spartan students out the way and like
crazy.
get off. I mean, I don't like those Michigan guys, but I mean, he's still human though. But I had to help him up, and once I helped him up, and they were kicking and stomping him, he run into the locker room then, and they were just punching him. I'm like, that dude had all types of black and blue marks on him when he got to it later on that night. But the Michigan game was very, very memorable when they did that, and I remember them throwing furniture out the what's that over there? Throwing furniture out there by the Union. Those dorms by the Union, they made a big old bonfire right there, and then they.
Yeah, like Yakeley Gilchrist and
those
around, like the Gotham City looking dorms.
It looks like Gotham City over there. And it still does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Everything was kind of hectic. My family waits for me at the tunnel after the game, but they couldn't wait. They had to go to I can't remember exactly where to go, to the football building because it was so crazy. But we had walked out the stadium, and I'm like, oh man, everybody's shaking hands, jumping up, like, oh, it's cool. And then I saw a turned over police car with students on the top of it. I'm like, wow. I mean,
it used to get wild back in the day.
Man, they turned over a police car. These kids turned over a police car.
It was.
I'm like, man, they're lucky it wasn't any. Lucky they didn't come no riots with tear gas or anything like that. But definitely that Penn State and that Michigan game was one of the most memorable games I've had.
Now, if I remember this too, because I think I was reading about this game not too long ago, maybe towards the end of last year. Were you on that team that beat Ohio State when they were ranked number 1 at Ohio State?
No, that was a year after I left. I think that was in 98.
Oh, okay.
I think that was 98 or 99.
Okay.
And I think Ray Hill or something got that interception towards the end.
Yeah.
I was watching that game too, and I was somewhere. We were playing, I think, Redskins or something, and I hurried up and ran to the room to turn on the TV, and then I just caught it in the nick of time, and I was just jump up and down, and they came, what's the matter? Like, we beat Ohio State. They were ranked like number 1 or 2 or something like that, and they're like, whatever. We are Ohio State. It's big for us, man. We don't beat those guys like that.
Only occasionally.
Oh,
yes. Oh, yeah. So
outside of your football career, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing now? What do you keep yourself busy with?
Well, one of the most important things I have right now is a foundation that's called FAIRMAN ADAMS PROJECT. And what the FAIRMAN ADAMS PROJECT does, it provides free mammograms and biopsies for women that don't have health insurance. So twice a year, I team up with Moncrief organization in Fort Worth, Texas. That's about 30 minutes west of Dallas. And we get about 30 women each mammogram event, and the foundation pays for their mammograms, and if they need a biopsy, it pays for their biopsy. And if they have a cancer diagnosis, the team with Moncrief provide them with government funds to pay for the cancer treatment with government funds, so they don't have to pay. So that's one of my things that I do after I play, because normally guys make these foundations and they last about 2 or 3 years when they're playing, and they eventually fade away. And I didn't want to do it when I was playing, because I know that the time it's hard to be able to do things like that, and you have times where have people running and then some people stealing money and doing all. I heard the whole shebang when it comes to having those foundations. And then I said I was going to do mine once I retired. So once I retired, that's when I formed it under, FAIRMAN ADAMS was my mother's name, because she died from breast cancer when I was in college my junior year.
Okay.
I did that in the name of her.
Yeah,
provide those mammograms and biopsies, and if they got a cancer diagnosis, Moncrief organization helped them get government funding so they'll be able to pay. So that's one of the little things that I do, try to help the community, help people out. And the other thing I do, I just build houses down here in the Dallas area, single family homes, keep me busy.
Oh man,
That's what the
Flozell, I wish I would have
foundation
known
and
that
for
about you,
for
man. When
definitely pump
we
that out
lived
because
in,
breast cancer affects a
you
lot of
know,
families,
when we
especially our
lived in
family.
Dallas,
So
because at the time, yeah, our grandmother had passed away from breast cancer. This was wow, over like 20, almost 24, 25 years ago. So yeah, whatever whatever we can do to help you promote
yeah,
that,
24 years
on
ago.
our airwaves here with this podcast. Yeah, let us know, man. We'll definitely do our part to spread the word.
Yeah. Just like any other foundation, they accept donations. And I don't do any gold and silver and platinum package. If you want to give 5 cents, give 5 cents. Hey, that 5 cents is going to get used. It's going to get used. If you want to do a quarter, you want to do a quarter. $5, $10, whatever. We're going to use it for those mammograms and biopsies. And anything that I do and spend my money, not my money, the foundation's money on is very transparent. I show bank accounts, anything like that. Nobody that gets paid, nobody gets deductions or anything like that. It's all volunteers.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely can spread the word for you about your foundation, and it's a very notable cause, like you said. Breast cancer is definitely one of those things that is, you have to spread the awareness about it because, yeah, definitely have to keep the word out about that. And I was going to say too that I wish we would have known that you build houses, Flozell, because at the time, when I met you, I was living in Dallas. If I don't know he's building houses, I'd be like, hey, you got a house already built that I could buy?
Well, well, I've been doing it for about 22 years, and I was doing it when I was playing. And actually, where I
Oh,
did mine,
okay.
I was on the Fort Worth side. So a lot of people don't want
Okay.
to move Fort Worth. Everybody, when it comes to Dallas, they just want to go to Dallas or Plano or Frisco or things like
Let's
that.
go.
Yeah, but on the other side of Dallas is Fort Worth, and they have the same type of communities and everything. It's just not noteworthy like it is on Dallas. So it's just
Oh,
like
okay.
uh, Detroit and Novi or something. Detroit people don't go to
Mm-hmm.
Novi, and Novi people don't go to Detroit. So Fort Worth people
That's
don't go to
real.
Dallas. Dallas don't go to Detroit. So that's how it is here. But it's very nice over there. So if I wasn't over where I am near the Cowboys facility, I would have moved over there if I'd have moved down here. But I have to stay close to where I worked, just like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I was just gonna say that after you graduated from Michigan State, that you were drafted by the Cowboys, uh, and you played. How long did you play with Dallas?
I played 12 years in Dallas and one with Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. So you played for two historical franchises, even though it may not feel like that now.
Yeah.
Especially when the Cowboys went out once again.
Well,
So
Always.
uh, well, the Cowboys weren't very historical when I was with them. 4 head coaches and 6 offensive teams and 14 quarterbacks that started over 6 games. That's not very, very historical. I think everybody want to rip that page out the book and put it on the fire and burn it, but
yeah, man, that is funny, man. I grew up a Cowboys fan, because growing up, I grew up on the western side of Michigan, where they didn't show a lot of like Detroit Lions games. I grew up in the Kalamazoo area, so everything was kind of like from the Chicago market as far as like showing games. But when I was watching games, I mean when it was just good old CBS, NBC, and ABC, they show a lot of Cowboys
Back in
games,
the
so I just
days now.
gravitated towards them. But now that the Lions are finally on the come up,
Nah, you can't join on the bandwagon. Nah, that's not right. Nah.
Nah, I can't. We're not
Yeah,
Lions fans, Ken. Let's be serious. We're
yeah.
not Lions fans.
Okay.
No, we're.
Oh,
You're right. I mean,
I like it.
we're Lions supporters. We're Lions supporters, but yeah, Dallas is
His
still
Lions
the
support is
top
a better
team.
way.
But yeah. So how
I
was it
definitely
playing for
like what
the Cowboys when you played with
Dan
them?
Campbell has done with the Lions. I played with him for 6 years, actually. He was a tight end. And just just the way he acts, even when he was a player, and how he went across to the game and how he played and his tenacity and all the other things he's done, I can see it the way he's coaching, because I remember when he first got hired to Detroit, and everybody's like, he can't talk. He's just a good old country boy from the middle of Texas. He improved on his accent a little bit. I don't know if he had some speech classes or what, but he can damn near not understand what he can say. But I knew they were like, oh, this dumb coach, and I do. He can't even talk during the press conference. He can't, this and that. And I told people from Michigan, I said, Dan Campbell is going to make that team. He's going to bring that team up. You don't know what you're talking about, Flo. I said, all right, I just told you once, so you'll see. And there we go. Look at it.
Oh yeah,
Kind of winning culture.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
winning culture. So Detroit people good for about another 2 years. So hopefully a longer time. But because I like Dan Campbell, but two games I want Dan Campbell to lose is against the Bears. So I can't help that. He got to lose against them Bears, but everything else he can win, especially against Green Bay. We can both agree upon that.
Yes, definitely with Green Bay.
Yes, who smacked Dallas around, which was very shocking, but that's then, this is now. So, Flozell, who were some of the other players you played with? Did you play with? I'm trying to think back then. Did you play with Plaxico Burress back when he was at Michigan State, or he came after you?
No, I played with him for 2 years, I believe.
Okay,
I think it was 2 years. He was there for 2 years. I think he a transfer or something. He was there for 2 years, maybe 3 years. Okay. Whatever. I played with him. I definitely played with him on the field a year. I think he transferred and he was set out for 1 year, but I played with him for 1 year, and the Plaxico was a hard worker too. So, and I brought it from Michigan State to the teams he was with. It shows, but I mean, that dude big, man. I played golf with him like 2 years ago, and he still looks like he can play. He's like the same size as college, and I haven't seen him in a while because he was with the Giants, and I would see him on the field, and we talked before the game and after the game. I'm looking at him as a guy, like just a regular guy. But then once I saw him on the field playing for the first time as a opponent instead of on my team, and when he was with the Giants, I'm like, dang, he's hot. Man, he's higher than doggone DBs, man. This dude like 6'4", 225, running a 4.4.
It's a big dude, yeah.
Wow,
man, this dude is phenomenal. Also, all you gotta do, that's a dream for a quarterback. He doesn't have to do anything. Can't just, especially in the red zone, just throw the ball up. He'll get it. Just get it. But he's definitely a hard player. He's a hard player and a good player. That showed during his career, college and NFL.
Okay. Trying to think of any. Did you play with Tony Banks too back in the day? Was he the quarterback then?
Yep. Yep. He was a JC transfer from California, and I played with him for 2 years. And he was a good quarterback. He was a great quarterback for MSU. Just because he was there for 2 years, he didn't get the numbers that he would have got if he'd originally got there. He probably would have broke a couple of records if he was there full term, but. That Tony's definitely a good quarterback for MSU, and he definitely did a good job, and it shows with his career too. I think he went to where did he go to first, Baltimore or St. Louis first? I can't remember which one was first. St. Louis was probably first.
Okay.
And then he went to Baltimore. So yeah, he has some wars in him now. He has some wars. He wasn't sitting on the bench. He did definitely play. So yeah, Tony was a good player for MSU, just like Plexico.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Stephen
Derek
Copus tells
Mason.
us, yeah, Derek Mason,
Derek
don't make
Mason.
Derek Mason.
Yep, from Mumford, Chatterbox. D Mason's definitely know how to talk. I admit I haven't talked to him in a long time, but you know, you see his record for himself, and he did a good job at Michigan State as a wide receiver and kick returner, and he did the same thing in the NFL for 15 years. I think he was at Houston Oilers to turn to the Titans, and then he ended up going to Baltimore. He did 15 years. I mean, that's a great career, and he played all of it, the whole damn thing. So D. Mace did a very, very good job with his career, and I'm proud of him for it.
Okay. So
MSU,
pivot back to
MSU put a lot of different guys in.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
You know, oh.
No, I was just gonna say that MSU did put a lot of people in the NFL, and know especially the Perlis, and he put a lot of I remember Stephen Cope was telling us about all the guys he put in the NFL, and he mentioned Tony Banks and how they're excited about him. So good to hear you talk about those guys. And just kind of pivoting back to more recent stuff. What are your thoughts on the current team? I know we're just now getting our first taste of Jonathan Smith. We just finished up the recruiting a couple weeks ago. So what do you think about the team as it stands right now?
Coach Smith, he's just doing all he can. Just like we were talking about Nick Saban coming in and taking over for George Perlis. Coach Smith's coming in, taking over for help me out a little bit.
Arlen Barnett, and then before him Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker. He's taking over for Tucker. So, all those are Tucker guys. Most of them are Tucker guys. So Coach Smith has to come up and do the same thing. I don't know, not do the same thing as Saban, but do some things like Saban. Like he got to change the culture of the team. He has to get the team and do the things that he wants to do with his coaching style and the behavior that he wants those guys to be. So they're probably most likely in their off-season program is what they're doing right now. Probably in a weave, running up. What is it? 8, almost 8:30 up there. It's probably done. And this is pretty much the same schedule. You'll never really forget that schedule. They probably just finished leaving dinner and then going to the study table. That's got to stay there till 9:30, 10 o'clock. But he's definitely probably putting a mark on the program and just got to weed the guys out. The guys who don't want to be there and don't want to do what I say, you got to go. If you want to do it and say and be something great and create something great in this Michigan State, then you stay. You got to stick to it and do everything you need to do and can do to be able to make the impression that you can, number one, within yourself and be able to football team, let alone the coaches.
What are your thoughts, Flozell, on the current state of the Big Ten? Now we have 4 teams coming in from the Pac-12 now. I think the conference itself is about, is it 18 to 20 teams now? I think. So what are your thoughts on that? The Big Ten now having, all these big teams, especially, some of the probably the top brands from the Pac-12 entering the conference.
Who's it? Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely the nature of the college football today is just crazy, and it's really hard to say what's gonna come of this stuff. But what's going to come of it is just more money for these TV programs. They just want to build a big network of TV programs and commercials and stuff. Like the Big Ten Network can add LA to its thing, so they get to get some stuff from LA just to make the pot go bigger. But I can go into that all day. So as for football, it's definitely going to be a challenge for two different systems when it comes to Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA. That's a pass happy conference, and I think a lot of schools in the Big Ten are probably, when they play those guys, are going to have to start preparing for teams that pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those guys, once they come to the Big Ten, they got to acclimate to the Big Ten.
Right.
Yes.
You got to get those little 220-pound defensive ends to just rush all the time, rush. And you want to come down here and go against Michigan State, we're just going to pound on you, man. The 220-pound defensive ends and 210-pound linebackers is not going to cut it out here, bro. So they got to go on and prepare for us too. So it'll definitely be a different feeling at first to watch those play against those guys. It's not a bowl game; it's an actual conference game. So it's going to be interesting. And in the first couple of years, it's probably going to be weird with everything that goes on with who plays who and all that other stuff. I mean, Michigan State playing USC and UCLA and Washington and stuff. So, I mean, you just got to get a part-time job to take them flights out there if you're going to want to watch that game.
Right.
You watching it from the couch or TV.
Hey, a couple of people asked me, like when they played Oregon some years ago, and then they threw Washington last year, year before in Seattle.
Yeah, they did that.
They did Washington a couple years ago.
Hey, I call it like I see it. Anybody can say what they want, and I don't give a damn. And they say people going to watch it. I'm like, cool, I'm going to check it out. So I got on the computer deal like that. I'm like, $1,200 for a ticket.
Right. That couch feels more and more comfortable
on TV. I'm not doing it.
So $100 out of the budget.
Yeah, that was just for the ticket. It wasn't talking about the cab ride, Uber, hotel, and all the drinking and eating and stuff. So I do that for a bowl game. I'll pay it for a bowl game, not just a regular season game. But
yeah,
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. Something different. I'm not saying that what we have right now with the Big Ten, Michigan, and Indiana, Northwestern, Iowa, that's boring. It's really never boring as far as I'm concerned, but it's just going to add a little twinge to it to be a little more exciting. So it's definitely going to be something that's going to be exciting to watch. And I'm kind of anxious to catch how it's going to be myself.
Yeah, I think MSU plays at Oregon this
I guess
up season.
Thinking about yes, we do play at Oregon.
Say that again.
Oh, that MSU, they play at Oregon this coming up season. Oh, MSU plays at Oregon.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, hey. We're going to see how that plane ticket costs. That plane ticket costs. You can watch that by your own. And you're going to pay that Peacock or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, that'll probably be.
But,
yeah, that'll probably be a Peacock-only game.
Yeah, Peacock-only game. So being down here in Dallas, a lot of California people here, and I got a couple of buddies that went to USC. They're just regular students, not even football players. They're already talking smack. They're talking smack. We're going to kick your ass, do all this stuff. I'm like, Michigan State better win. I got bets on it. Whenever they play them, whether it's going to be next year, 25, 26, 27, they better win. I got money on this game already.
Yeah,
so USC, they look beatable. They weren't that much better than Michigan State last year. I mean, a couple of victories. I think they went 7 games.
Oh, the year before either. They didn't play anybody.
Like that.
They didn't play anybody. So, hey, anybody's beatable. You've been ranked number 1 and got beat. Look at UConn last night. They got beat. So, I mean,
true story.
It just don't matter. It just depends who wake up in the bed wanting more.
Yeah, UConn got whooped last night. I mean,
but as for the conference change, that was bad. But as for the conference games, it's going to be exciting. I like it. I like the move a little bit, so to speak, as excitement. But so you got some traditions that you. I think Big Ten are still going to have traditions though.
Oh yeah,
because it's the Big Ten. It's not like when they changed the Big 12 down here. Like they have a big what is that OU Texas game called Red River Rivalry?
Yeah,
that's no more. It's done. So it's no more tradition. So the SEC dismantled the Big 12. OU and Texas and A&M are the ones that left. It might be another one. So those traditions are gone. So, but I'm glad the Big Ten, at least we still have traditions somewhat more than them. But it's just gotta get used to it. It's the world today. Stuff changes. You just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
you could have played in this era of football?
And both schools are ever going to let that die down.
Never.
You think this era? Oh yeah, I could have played in this era of football in college and the pros. I mean, I don't think it'd have been any problem. Only thing that'll be different is just the type of systems and the plays that they run, and it got a little faster, but you got to be acclimated. And the state of offensive linemen today, we talk to offensive line all the time, but they're soft. They're really soft. They're soft. The offensive linemen of the world are soft. And I mean, even in the NFL, you just look right there, and you got a couple of guys from the Cowboys. I got a couple of guys from the Raiders, Baltimore. We all know each other. You're on the group chat on the phone. They're like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Oh my God, this guy didn't use it. He's not using his hands." So I mean, they're soft, man. They're soft. I mean, he still got some dogs in there now. You got that one, Trent Williams for
the Niners. He was the Niners, isn't he?
For San Francisco, he's still a dog. Yeah, but he's old school. He's still old school though. He's 14 years in. He's last of the dying breed. And this guy down here, Smith, he's 13 years.
Tyron Smith.
Years. Yeah, Tyron. I mean, those guys are still hanging in there, but these new ones, first year, 5 years ago, I'm like, man, I know these offensive line coaches ripping their hair out with these dudes. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy, but it is what it is.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes. Any last questions, Brian, for our guest here? The illustrious Flozell, the Hotel Adams.
Questions. I'm glad you were able to join us.
Wait, he got that delay. What did he say, Brian?
Yeah, I couldn't hear him either. Can you repeat yourself?
Oh no, I was just saying that.
You have a delay too?
No, I'm good this way. I was just saying that, Brian was saying that it was, definitely a pleasure to have you on as our illustrious guest. One of the most dominant players at Michigan State.
I appreciate it. I did my best, man. Did my best, and I'm gonna admit it. This is something I want to say. That I didn't start football until I was a junior in high school, and I really didn't know the state of colleges. I didn't know big time football or anything like that. I didn't know, back in the days of Miami or the guys that win national championships. I didn't know much about Michigan State. I didn't know much about Michigan, Ohio State. I didn't know anything. I just knew Northwestern Illinois, and I damn near didn't know what a conference was. I didn't know the Big Ten conference was. I'll tell you the truth. And I didn't start learning things until once I got to Michigan State. And I didn't know anything about Michigan State. And I picked Michigan State because I liked it when I visited. I liked the guys. I liked the camaraderie. I liked the student life. I liked the environment. I just liked everything about it. And it really wasn't totally about football. So that's why I picked Michigan State. But Now, once I got there, I started to learn on how things happened there. I learned on how the people acted in school, the student body, and then I met people from the cities that I'm talking about, different people. Because once you're growing up, you really haven't been anywhere. You've been to grandparents' house in Mississippi or something, and been in Washington D.C.
True story.
You never,
right?
Yeah, you never. Those are vacation places. You don't never been any places to learn other people. You didn't learn other people. So I just knew Chicago people. So once I started learning about everything, I adapted to it pretty well. It was kind of exciting. And the one thing I mostly remember is when Michigan week. And I remember in the locker room, Michigan, look at Michigan. I'm sitting like, yeah. So what's the big deal about that? I'm like, whatever. I mean, Michigan and all this other crap. And I didn't realize it because we played we already in a couple of games. And, you can just distinguish on how many people are at the stadium by the corners. Or how it fades off into the corners, and there's not a lot of people there up on the top and lower deck. So we played like Central Michigan and other some MAC schools at that time. I think we played them early. And I didn't know how big this game was. And, you heard students in the dorm talking all this, hooting and hollering, and I'm still not getting it. We didn't have this stuff in Chicago. I mean, just didn't know. I mean, we had homecoming in high school, but it's nothing big-time college football. And then pregame warm-up, you see it all, student body out there. I didn't understand it. And it wasn't until we broke that tunnel and we ran out to that field, I looked up, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, these people are damn near falling off the edges up there. I was like, man. And you couldn't even, just general conversation of the people in the stands, you couldn't hear, you were yelling at your teammate to just hear, for him to hear what you had to say. And then that right there is when we ran up to this field and I saw all those people in that stadium and everybody in the sideline. I was like, okay, I see this is a big deal. I see how this is right now. I learned quick once that thing happened right there. And that day is the day I instantly hated.
Oh, man, that's cool. That's a cool story, man. That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's exactly how it comes out. That's exactly how it comes out, man. It took long. It took all week or whatever. But once that game day came, you got in that feeling, I immediately knew what was going on there.
Oh, yeah. I don't care if it's like equestrian or swimming or, kickball. We got to beat Michigan at all costs in all sports. Doesn't matter what the sport is.
All sports. And even the girls basketball won the other night, and I was happy to see that too.
Yeah, me too.
I remember I saw that the other day too. Right after the guy won the day before that.
Right. So we come to the end once again. Our classic Spartan series. We have Flozell Adams as our illustrious guest tonight. Definitely want to thank you, Flozell, for dropping those key nuggets on us about your time at MSU and what you're doing now. And like I said, man, we definitely can help you promote your cause there, with the breast cancer and whatnot. We can definitely help you spread the word, amongst our podcast airwaves for sure.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I love being on here, man. I love being there talking about the old days. I can go on all night, but I appreciate you having me. And thanks for the promotion of the FAIRMAN ADAMS Project. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. No problem at all.
Have a good one.
All right, now. Take it easy.
Yep. Cue the woodshed, and we are out.